You're listening to Built for Nature, an exploration of how humans are designed to live through first principles, light, water, magnetism, and the deeper forces that shape human biology. Today's episode is about something that most people never associate with health, but they really need to, and that's electricity. The inspiration for this episode comes from the book The Bioelectric by Robert O. Becker. Dr. Robert O. Becker was an American orthopedic surgeon and pioneering researcher in bioelectricity and electromedicine. One of the most important medical figures of the 20th century, Becker spent his career at the Veterans Administration Hospital and Upstate Medical Center in Syracuse, New York, where he served as chief of orthopedic surgery and head of a research laboratory focused on the role of electrical phenomena in healing and regeneration. And his core idea is monumental for human health. The human body is not just biochemical, it's a bioelectric semiconductor. Modern medicine tends to explain the body through chemistry, but Becker's work shows us how electrical signaling is a fundamental control system, not just in our brains, but throughout our entire body. Becker was an orthopedic surgeon studying healing, and he discovered that when tissues are injured, the body generates electrical currents at the site of the damage. He noticed that these currents weren't random and that they were guiding the healing process. This means our cells don't just respond to chemical signals, they also respond to electrical fields. A large part of the book that's worth highlighting discusses one of the most fascinating parts of Becker's work, and that's regeneration. Certain animals like salamanders can regrow entire limbs. Becker found that this ability is tied to electrical signaling. When the electrical patterns are intact, regeneration occurs. When they're disrupted, regeneration fails. And this led Becker to asking a very powerful question. Do humans also rely on bioelectric signals for healing? But in a more limited way. Becker goes on to demonstrate that the body has a direct current, or DC, electrical system. This is separate from the nervous system and deeply involved in regulation and repair. The system runs through connective tissue and structures like collagen, which is interesting when you connect it to everything else we've already discussed, because structured water, easy water, as discussed more deeply in the fourth phase of water episode, forms along hydraulic surfaces like collagen, and structured water has electrical properties. So now you have your link between water structure, electrical signaling, and biological regulation. Becker didn't just observe these electrical signals, he experimented with them. In many cases, applying small electrical currents to injured tissue accelerated healing. Bone growth improved. Repair processes sped up. This demonstrated that electrical signaling isn't just a byproduct of healing, it's a key driver of it. And we tend to think of the nervous system as the body's communication network, and it is, but Becker's work suggests it's not the only one. Becker's work shows us that there is a more primitive, fundamental electrical system underneath it, one that operates continuously, maintaining structure, guiding repair, and coordinating cells. This system doesn't rely on fast impulses like nerves. It relies on steady electrical gradients. And when you step back, a pattern starts to emerge. Electrical gradients help maintain order in biological systems. They create structure, direction, and organization, which aligns closely with the ideas from Schrodinger's What is Life, where life is described as a system that maintains order against entropy. Electricity, it turns out, is one of the tools the body uses to maintain that order. If the body relies on subtle electrical signaling, then the environment becomes very important, because electrical systems are sensitive. They can be influenced by chronic inflammation, tissue damage, metabolic dysfunction, and external electromagnetic fields. Becker was one of the early scientists to raise concerns about how artificial electromagnetic environments interact with biological systems, not in a dramatic, instant, immediate way, but in subtle, chronic ways over time. Today, we live in an environment that's very different from anything humans evolved in. Constant artificial lighting, constant electrical exposure, bombardment with non-native frequencies from cell towers and Wi-Fi, and of course, way more time spent inside houses and apartments and way less time spent outdoors in natural environments. At the same time, we see increasing rates of chronic disease and impaired healing. And Becker's work forces us to ask an important and potentially inconvenient question. Are we disrupting biological signaling systems with our modern lifestyles? It's very clear the answer to that question is yes. So now comes the call to action. What does this mean for our health, and how do we take what Becker has taught us and apply it? First, we need to just acknowledge this. We need to respect the body as an electrical system and support structural integrity. It starts with a mindset shift. You are not simply just biochemical. You are a bioelectric semiconductor, which means the physical structure of your body matters. Not just muscles, but the connective tissue network that runs through your entire body. Collagen, fascia, cell membranes. These structures help support electrical signaling and communication. Water plays a role here too. As discussed in the 4th phase of water episode, water in the body isn't just passive. It forms structured layers that hold charge and support electrical activity. So when structure breaks down through inactivity, chronic tension, or poor recovery, the systems that rely on that structure become less efficient. Which means supporting your body's structure isn't just about movement or strength. It's also about maintaining the conditions that allow your internal electrical systems to function properly. Anything that affects electrical gradients inside the body has the potential to affect your health over time. Since electrical signaling moves through tissues like collagen and structured water, then the quality of that tissue matters. Movement helps, strength training helps, time outdoors helps, and hydration with a natural mineral balance helps support electrical function at the cellular level. Next, we need to reduce chronic disruption. This doesn't mean fear technology, but it does mean being intentional when using it. Create for yourself periods of low stimulation. Spend time away from artificial environments. Reconnect with your natural surroundings. Grounding, sunlight exposure, and time in nature help stabilize biological signaling systems. Go take a walk outside. Put your phone on airplane mode whenever possible, or leave it behind. Unplug your Wi-Fi router at night. Unplug any electronics when they're not being used. Don't cook food in the microwave. Wear blue light blocking glasses when using screens for extended periods of time, or better yet, use your screens outside in the natural light. There are many ways to still use modern technology in a healthier way. It's just about making the effort and being intentional. And finally, prioritize recovery and healing. Since electrical signaling plays such a large role in healing and repair, recovery becomes even more important. Deep sleep, rest, and reducing chronic stress. These aren't passive states. They're active repair environments where the body restores structure and reestablishes order. And if you've been following along this far, then you know what I'm going to say next. Health looks like order. Disease looks like disorder. When you combine Becker's work with everything else we've explored, a deeper model of health continues to emerge. Light provides energy and information. Water provides structure. Mitochondria process energy, and electricity organizes the systems. These are not separate ideas. They're layers of the same system. So when I say light, water, and magnetism are the foundational forces that shape human biology, this is exactly what I mean. As I've already made pretty clear, the big takeaway from the body electric is that your body is an electrical system, and that electrical system plays a central role in healing, regulation, and overall health. The more we understand that, the more we start to see health not just as chemistry, but as a balance of energy, structure, and electrical order. As I continue working through these books, from light to water to magnetism, we're starting to really see now a more complete picture of how human biology actually works, not in isolated parts, but as an integrated system. Thanks for listening.